it's not just the biomarkers, it's like mapping the biomarkers to the biological age. What really drives the coach is these prompts here. And this is like what is telling the AI, like we use these prompts in different contexts as the AI bot. So what the evaluations are meant to do is like test that the prompts are effectively behaving the way they're supposed to. It's really crazy how good it's getting. I honestly think like we could
I
test it
think,
today. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. I think everybody, welcome to the ABCs for Building the Future podcast. We are just doing another recording, extending on the previous one for a build in public update, where we're looking at this AI health coach reference app that we're building to ship to our open source GitHub repo for Epistemic Me for the ideal customer profile of a developer who wants to build a hyper-personalized AI health coach for their health or longevity influencer that they work for. So I think maybe first off, what we should do is give a bit of an, again, it'd be cool if we just demoed it and looked at it together and then critically assess, like, how do we make this even better for the ICP? How are you thinking we should drive this, Jonathan? This is more freeform, by the way. This is like live. We're going to critically assess this stuff live and look at the experience and stuff.
I mean, I guess so we had a conversation with Greg last week, you mean Greg, and we talked about building an example reference app, and we went over the confident AI tools and the deep eval tool set. And um, I think he got conceptually like, okay, I see how, we can build a data set to like train the bot to do what we want. Um, and I told him I build an example app in our repo, and that's what I built. Um,
Mhm.
and so I think there's one question of like, okay, are we meeting that expectation from, and like actually the whole weekend I was building, it felt a little different. It felt like I was like putting myself in the developer's shoes, like, and just try not to think about belief systems and try not to think about epistemic me, but just like, I'm just building, right? So now
Yeah.
I've got an app and it's built, and now I need to start thinking about how to layer on epistemic me on top of it as the next step. Meeting
Yeah.
Greg's expectations, meeting the design expectations with Nico and the rest of the Don't Die team. Are we on the same page about customer development? And like, what I see we're empowered to do now is like get the specific kind of interactions we want defined in the user experience, and then
Yeah.
train those with the vowels, and then release them, and then test them with users and repeat.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the audience, we have a few things converging. We're building Epistemic Me, the SDK that makes it possible for you to hyper personalize anything, starting with an AI health coach for the Don't Die team. And I think it would be useful if I even just shared my screen and shared the SDK playground swim lane. So, and then I'll map to where Jonathan is at. So, developer creates a user with, they go to epistemicme .ai. They see our little, what we're calling an SDK playground. So just so everybody understands what this feature is, this is the kind of like, I go to some like Stripe docs or some other developer focused set of tools. And then I can immediately understand, oh, okay, I can play around with it. I can see the data model. I can see the schema. So the broad brushstrokes are developer creates a user with default params and sees the data structure. An SDK response is generated for the created user with default params. Developer create a self-model and belief system for a user. And then we have these interactions here. The developer could then maybe copy paste a snippet of their existing user data and then see a self-model with populated belief system. And then another part of the user journey is the developer creates a default dialectic with the user with a particular learning objective. Like I want to learn about my users' belief systems around sleep or their habits around sleep, whatever it might be. And then we give them that dialectic or a question answer sort of in a chatbot interaction. And they see what our data model kind of looks like from there and what the interaction might be like. And then they can create a self model of that AI coach that represents an influencer or coach. So that's the model of them who will be interacting with the model of the user to provide what's the next best set of habits towards what your health goals are or longevity goals. And then finally, there's the how do we solve for the opportunity of reducing uncertainty and any friction to getting a coach out in the wild as a product for that developer with that AI coach. So that's what this is about, is the developer could then create a dialectic with a user and an AI coach that learns about the user. Set of interactions here that go into another few components that we're going to call the self-model bootstrapper. Give us some user data, give us some influencer data. We create self-models bootstrapped. Self-model simulator and dialectic designer, those are the components I'm touching now, which will give the developer ICP certainty that whatever they release into the wild, it works with the guardrails that they intend for their users, for the hyper-personalized interactions and suggestions. And that extends here with training the AI coach. So curating question answer pairs and doing evals. And then going back to what Jonathan was saying, Jonathan put on his I am that developer hat, and I am tasked with building an AI health coach. And so from the Epistemic Me perspective, we want to ship reference app code into our GitHub repository so that that ICP developer could like take that and bootstrap really quickly this AI health coach functionality in their existing application stack. Okay, so just setting the contours. I think there's also a few things sort of converging here. It's a little chaotic. So let me just say it out loud. There's the user research side, which is what would people actually want from this coach? We have a strong hypothesis that the MVP is we want to ship an AI health coach that will assess your biomarkers and then help you get a plan of attack for improving those biomarkers based on your health data. And if you don't have biomarkers, then the AI health coach will give you some instructions for how to get those. And then you get into the next user journey, which is, okay, give me the habits and stuff like that I should take on to improve my biomarkers. And then there's also sort of other features on the ICP side that they would probably want to put in, which are like habit tracking, accountability partners, that kind of stuff, so that the habits are reinforced and they're in that core loop of do thing that's healthy for me, I get healthier, I see biomarkers are better, I keep doing things that are healthy for me and see biomarkers get better and so on. Okay, so to sort of coalesce this, going back to the BioAge coach, Jonathan, I don't know if you want to share your screen and go through the reference app. Doesn't have to, maybe it doesn't have to be the demo. If you have it up, that'd be cool. But maybe just like walk through what the code looks like from that ICP's perspective, or even talk through how you thought about making it. That might be a good start. Wherever you think might be best.
Yeah, sure. I have all the links open. I'll just go ahead and share screen. I don't know where to start. So yeah, you mentioned bioage coach, but I think it's really about getting to the biological age of the biomarker. It's not just the biomarkers. It's like mapping the biomarkers to the biological age. And
Mm.
what I created here, like here's my PR work in progress, and then this is deployed to Streamlet, which is the first time I used Streamlet, which is kind of cool. And we have the app up and running here. It's like it's a chat app that you can use, and um, it does two things in this app. One is that it's like a complete chat experience that we can evolve, but it also has a set of evaluations that are meant to like kind of train the bot. And so let's see, where's our prompts? Yeah. So I used Cursor and Claude 3.7 for this, which was 3.7 with like the learning, uh, the inference capabilities, which is like really
Mm.
fun. I don't know, it just like did a really good job.
Cool.
Um, okay, so what really drives the coach is these prompts here, and this is like what is telling the AI, like we use these prompts in different contexts as the AI bot, and so we have like the system prompt here, biomarker assessment prompt, all these different prompts, and then in our tests we have let's see, yeah, we have these evaluations over here, yeah, like the chatbot evaluations. Um, so what the evaluations are meant to do is like test that the prompts are are effectively behaving the way they're supposed to. And so you can see like we have some example inputs here. This would be something that the user puts in the chat. I actually wonder, like we could take this and put it in the app right now. Yeah, it actually, this would be interesting because it should already know that the values are different, because I'm bootstrapping the users here, and it's going to have like a value for H1BC on the biomarkers probably. Yeah, it's 5.9. So let's see if it corrects it actually now that it has the context. But these are like these capabilities, like, so I put one set of vowels to make sure that when we load a user into the chat, that that like we can provide context for the chat bot and that it knows our numbers. Um,
Numbers meaning all of those, the health and longevity data, like my specific numbers.
yeah, because like when somebody
Yeah.
comes in from the Don't Die app, these are the categories of information they have. They have like biotests, biomarkers, measurements, and then there's some like capabilities and lab results you can order.
Okay.
So I created a panel here where you can like create a new user. Um, so let's call this test user Y. Oops, never seen it do that. And then I can like, let's just say this person only entered 30% of their information in. It doesn't want me to change the name. I don't care. It's fine. Um, and then this user, now we can emulate this user. I think this is the one we just created here. Um, and see, like they didn't like fill out their health. They don't have complete health data. So we can see how the bot would interact in this case. Like for instance, if we wanted to have the bot ask for more health data, like we could ask like, what uh, health data should I add next to get an accurate biological age measurement. And it probably won't do a great job of this. It might come up with some information based on the LLM itself, but we can train it, with like how we want it to respond, and then we would update the prompts so that it would, we would update the prompts in the over here, um, so that like they did what we're expecting it to do, and then we could write evals to like test that it's doing what we expect to do, and in that way you can like use legitimate prompt engineering, to like make
Yeah.
the app better. Yeah, so that's the basic idea.
I guess one thing that I think about right now is right now all the prompts are stuffed into like one file, right? Looks like.
Yes, they're all stuffed in one file.
So then I wonder, would that be the like? So we're critically, just to zoom out. You're looking for feedback on for that Greg ICP persona. What will be the easiest way for me to like copy paste this in, just get going, right?
What would be the easy way to copy and paste what into get going? Like, so
Uh,
like
Take this
we're
reference app code and then integrate into Don't Die to make an AI Brian, and then get some private beta users on it.
Yeah, I don't know that we're there yet. Because I think like one thing is we have to now think about how do we want to integrate Epistemic Me into this code base. So like if Greg wrote this, right, and we're meeting him and we're meeting his use case,
Mhm.
like how do we make it easy for him to then expand his prompts and expand his evals using the
Yeah.
personalization characteristics? And I think let me try to uh, so yeah, here this is confident AI where it will like it'll
Oh,
run
cool.
the evals and then so this is how he can manage the data set. I was looking for like the last test that was run. Good work.
Mm.
But the last test I ran, there were like there were 7 evals that are live, and um, so what we want them to do is start to like own their own data set here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, we got this stupid like,
Get me out of this tutorial.
right? Yeah, so I mean, I think we want to where we want to get to with them. I'll stop sharing screen. Yeah, so I
um,
think where we want to get with them is that, like they say, this is how we want the bot to behave when the person, when the user is interacting with it, and then we can put in the prompts and evals, deploy it, test it with customers, and then continue to repeat that. And
mm,
then there'll be like there's a set of like just basic functional things it needs to do. Like it needs to be able to it needs to be able to understand the bio data, health data from each of the users and not lose context throughout the conversation. It needs to not give medical advice. Like there's a bunch of things like that that we could put evals in for.
yeah,
And then we want to like get into the hyper personalization cases, and that's where
yeah.
we'd say now, okay, now let's use the Epistemic Me SDK playground dialectic designer, output some prompts and evals for you to put into the code base.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for giving me the download on that and the overview. Um, okay. I'm trying to think about so where we're at with the research part is we want to ask this group of users we've gotten together for the private beta, like imagine that Brian is your AI health coach or Brian's your coach. Um, and there's some research questions we want to ask. I still got to work together with the designer on that. What's holding us up is like the contract stuff, actually. So that's the blocker right now. Otherwise, we would probably get going already. So I'm trying to unblock as fast as possible, but that's probably the biggest blocker for us to getting real feedback, which would inform um, some of these items. So I'm trying to think about what would be the most useful thing to talk through between us, given that blocker. Um,
Well, are we seeing it the same way where you want to, when you're asking those questions, you actually just want to put in a prototype like this and have them interact with it?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like literally just ask them those questions. And just to be ultra clear, so this would be like, let's take a given sort of curated question answer pair, like literally just throw that out into the wild. We get answers, and then those are our question answers, and then we put those into um, confident AI. Is that where we're aligned, or am I not aligned?
Um, I think like, but I think there'd be like a set of questions and answers about like, sleep routines, for instance.
Yeah,
Hey, okay, in today's session, we're going to talk to AI Brian about your sleep routine. Um, like it's got your data uploaded. It has your scores from the last 2 months. What kind of stuff do you want to ask it? And um, I think it would be like a guided set of questions that they would ask regarding sleep that we've prepared for to some regard. What supplements, what bedtime routines do you have? What kind of, like equip or tools like lights or any other kind of like biohacking devices do you use? Um,
hmm
we would like pre-train it to answer those kind of questions and then test it with users. And by pre-train it, I mean like we would make sure the prompts have examples with this kind of data
yeah.
that the AI coach could identify that the user is in that context and load those set of prompts, and that we would have evals that would like test that when those prompts were loaded, they would behave like we expected them to, like they would return answers that were good.
So we have these users. I'm thinking we curate some questions, we get answers from them, we pre-train like in the prompt, feed examples, um, and then we can hopefully hand it to Greg with Confident AI and then run those evals to see is it hitting what we think. That high level, that's where I'm at. So then there's some tactical things, which are what are the questions we want to start with, which is probably informed like what are the opportunities we see with the users, which to me, we could figure that out. And so just piecing together, got to get the questions together, got to throw that out to the private beta user group, collect all their data, and then redo these prompts here, hand this to Greg. They own the data set. They can go to Confident AI, run these evals, and then
Well,
we ship something into the wild after we've integrated with Epistemic Me SDK and stuff like that. Like that's kind of a question mark to me.
yeah, I didn't think they were really prepared to own the data set and like, you know, so I think I'm ready to do all that, on the
Oh,
behalf,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, so we would give a set of questions. And by the way, going back to the last meeting, I think where Ryan suggested like what is the roadmap that everybody's seeing? I think the set of questions that solicit from each user, like what the improvements they want to see on their improvement roadmap are, would be like a good starting point.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that
so
makes
we'd say
sense.
like, okay, we have your data today, like where where do you see the most opportunity for improvement? Like we might be the kind of questions that we're asking the user. And then we would like, do some evals for those kind of cases and like test it with users. Okay, cool. Here is the opportunity. Here's the opportunities that we've agreed on that you can go forward with. But
Resolve
yeah,
these
so
problems.
like so if we're clear on like the experiment we want to run with users, then we can prepare this exact Streamlit application, for them to test it and to like collect some more data. And then we can work with the Doti team to like curate their database and then or the data set and then get it ready for the next set of tests, whatever that's going to be.
So are you imagining this Streamlet we actually give to users? Like after, let's say, okay, get the list of questions, like where do you see opportunities for improvement? And a few others, get that out to the private beta users, get their responses, modify the Streamlet. You run this, we actually get users to test it, and then we could actually see if the evals are working. And then once we get a few cycles there, is will evolve, and then at some point we converge with, all right, let's plug in Epistemic Me for the hyper personalization.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, cool.
so I'm thinking, I mean, we can use the Streamlit app, or we can like show this an example and have them build one. But I honestly think like it's just gonna be fastest. Like we could
I
test it
think,
today. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like
that's
there's
what I'm
no there's
thinking.
no
Like,
reason to
I
like
think,
complicate it.
no, yeah, I think shorten the feedback loop as much as possible, is the goal. So, okay, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So tactically, you got to get a list of questions together, define the experiment, get that out there, collect responses by user, and um, then we go to confident AI. Like then we're gonna modify the Streamlit application, pre-train it with those system prompts that you showed me, and the reference app code, reload the Streamlit, give that to the users, see if it's breaking things in confident AI, and then go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
makes a lot of
think
sense.
if we just get in a loop of working together like that, then we can take on incrementally more complex stuff. Like, okay, for this next time, let's load these documents in and make sure that it's like pulling answers from these documents to answer questions. Um,
Yeah.
I think we just take it like one step at a time. We'll kind of grow into it together, and we can
Yeah.
figure out like what's what. Um,
I think the sleep one's probably the easiest one. Um, what do you think?
I think, I mean,
Maybe not.
like what I heard out
Yeah.
of last meeting was that the like getting the roadmap from each user is probably like the
Oh, like
first thing to
just
learn.
ask them like ambiguously, like, hey, what is your health target?
Yeah, like what are your health goals? Like where do you want to see improvement? And that's a really interesting place for us too, because I think we can survey for beliefs about like what they think they can't improve and what they can improve. Uh, what they think will take like time because there may be things that people can do like today, that'll change their biological age, right? And there's things that they have to like, train 3 months to improve VO2 max, which is like obviously a longer term plan, right?
All right, so basically, got to think through the experiment.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
I would
Okay.
just go look at the notes from last call or listen to last call because I do think there was a sort of a consensus forming and around Ryan's suggestion about the roadmap, but I might have been overweighting his inputs. So I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I like that idea of in the initial experiment design, also surveying them around the corners of their beliefs around health. And that way we could literally bootstrap self models. Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, that'd be, I mean, that would help us a lot for our hypotheses around hyper personalization for sure. Okay. So
Oh,
design the experiment, figure that out, collect the responses, and then work with you, update the Streamlit reference app, and then get it to the
uh,
users.
by the way,
Yeah.
have we ever talked about Learning to Build by Bob Moesta, the founder of Jobs to Be Done framework?
No. Let me look it up.
He has a design of experiments methodology um, that I don't know if you're familiar with it. I've never used it myself, but it looks like really powerful.
Yeah, I'm always willing to try new things. So empathetic, so innovation is an ability that can be learned and mastered rather than a skill reserved for a select few. practical techniques and a framework for creating products that customers find useful and willing to pay for. And there's like 5 pillars. It looks like empathetic perspective, uncovering demand, causal structures, prototyping to learn, making trade-offs. Right, I guess I'll be reading this, or at least getting
That's
like
that
the framework.
that's learning to build. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It,
yeah.
it's a really short book. I think it just takes like 4 hours to listen to or something like that.
Okay.
But it also talks about like how to use the jobs to be done framework to like interview users and ask them questions with like context and contrast to like really understand where they're coming from. So that's what I saw, like his business co-founder, I saw him do like in person with my last startup, and it was like really impressive.
Cool.
But yeah, the reason I bring it up is if like we could say, if we could look forward and say, this is our MVP hypothesis, and then break it down to a design of experiments methodology where we just are running like, a series of these, maybe a couple times a week with us with some sample users, tuning the system the whole time along. That might be like a really good roadmap to get MVP.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good suggestion. Okay. Um, I got work to do. I got to unblock this contract thing. That's the biggest thing that's blocking me from doing anything on this. But in the meantime, okay, I'll quickly download and figure that out, and then I think I'll get a series of design experiments together into Coda, and then we can interface on that. Um, and that should get us to uncovering like what do the users actually want of AI Brian, and that would help us, I think, meet Greg where he needs to deliver.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Um, and I could just evolve it for me and you, by the way, like, and we could just like, import our own data in and use it like a coach for these use cases. Because I think that's
Yeah,
also a really great way to build stuff is just to build it
I
for
mean,
yourself and
yeah,
feel the
I mean,
experience.
I would I would use it for my sleep protocol. I was asking questions in the void for a while, like right, like
Yeah.
I would find it useful. So that's even quicker, honestly.
Yeah. Like, so I don't mean, I'm really energized like by the progress this weekend and the path forward and like highly motivated to connect the dots with the SDK playground. Um,
I'm fucking stoked.
the
Yeah, it's gonna be
yeah.
great. Like,
So I,
for
I
sure.
think that um, I'm wondering, should I send the prototype over to the group, or do you want to wait till your contract stuff gets ironed out? Do
I think
you
we
think
should
it'll
just
create?
send it over. Like, we're
Okay.
ready for feedback, right? Like, I think, yeah. Like, I mean, we're not yet talking to the users, right? So getting the Don't Die team's feedback, in particular Greg's feedback, I think would be
Yeah.
useful. Um, so I'd say like if you want to ship the Loom video over to them with the Streamlet app that they can play around with, that will give us more confidence in what Greg would want too. Especially if you put the code like into the repo, ship it there, complete the PR.
Okay. Yeah. I'll merge the code. I'll re-record a Loom for them, and then
Yeah,
send over the example app. And I think he'll get it. Um, you know, we might have to have a meeting to really sync on it, but I think he'll get it.
yeah. And either way, like the whole goal was shortened. To me, there's two personas. There's Greg, and then there's the AI Brian users.
Hmm.
And as much as we can eliminate the feedback loops, then we will uncover demand, right? We'll uncover learnings that will strengthen our solution hypotheses. So I don't see why
Yeah.
not. And we're kind of in with the Don't Die team. I think they're cool with like they loved getting our swim lanes docked, right? Like that loop video I sent them. I'm sure if we shipped them this, it would just be even more like let's get into a well-oiled machine of like ship you something, get feedback, ship you something, get feedback. I think that can only be good. I don't really see any downsides here. Yeah. So, okay, you do that. I will keep trying to unblock the contract stuff. Hopefully, we get that done this week. If not, I think I'll just go through Nico and be like, I'll quickly try to read up on the Bob Moesta's learning to build framework, and over the next couple of days, design a series of experiments and then hand those to Nico. He seems kind of with it, so I think he could
Cool.
help critically like um, make those experiments more robust as well. And then hopefully he could just like facilitate them, and we're just like kind of like, hey, we want to learn these things. Here's a structure or scaffolding. Please go ahead, and then we're more focused on the Greg ICP uh, to deliver upon those learnings. Because if we were full time on this, I feel like we'd get this done in like a week, right? but but we're not. We're not. Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love the progress, man. I actually didn't see all of because I was on mobile, so I think because of that, my view of what I didn't see
Oh yeah,
visuals.
okay.
Yeah, I scrolled through
Um,
the Loom. I didn't watch all of it, and so when I was on mobile, I didn't see all of what you just showed me actually, like in detail, because I was like waiting for a taxi, didn't have too much time, and just
oh
recorded
okay,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That was helpful.
something I put a decent amount of effort into is creating those example users. So there's like an SQLite database attached to the chatbot, and
Sweet.
they could like take health data out of their database and put it in that, or we can just so like so let's say you want to test with a real user from Don't Die, like you could just
Yeah.
have an export command, import it into the SQL database, send them a
Oh, hell
link
yeah.
to the Streamlet, and then test with their data.
Yeah,
Um,
that's that's great. Yeah, I mean, even just getting a hosted instance of this once we refine it, after these cycles, I could see that just being part of a PLG self-serve motion on our website,
yeah.
you know? Yeah, it's like, all right, we're not even in the loop. Here, like, here you go. Sweet. Thanks for putting in all that work, man.
Yeah.
I'd love to see your workflow for, you seem like a cursor god at this point. I want to see your workflow for how did you go from concept to like getting this done? Um, yeah, at some point, I'd love to see that. If you want to walk me through it.
Yeah, sure. Anytime, man. Like I know I say that all the time, and our schedules don't overlap in that way. But if you want to like schedule a session for it, uh, we can
Do
definitely do
we
that.
do that for like Friday? I got a lot of time. Um, you want to pre-book like Friday, let's say like 11 to like 2. We just have a 3-hour chunk where we just work through shit.
Yeah.
And if we don't use it, like we don't use it.
I've got like a lab test that morning at at 10:40. So after that, yeah,
Okay.
I can meet up and we can do that.
Do you think you'll be back at like 12 or 11:30 or?
Yeah, no, it's real close. Like Quest is usually on time, and then I can
Okay.
just be back. It's by
I'll just
like
put
I
like
think 11:30 would
11:30.
should be safe.
Cool.
One thing I'd like your feedback on is that I really do feel like I have a crisp vision for like an MVP for this AI Brian. Um,
Yeah.
just my experience as a user, and I like research this guy pretty deeply, and so
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I could be building that, or we could be doing it together with DD team,
I
and
I'd say, Jonathan, you just fucking blaze a trail and I'm happy to catch up. Because I'm trying to hold down a few other if we're in warfare, like you're kind of like scouting ahead.
yeah,
I'm like happy to scout. I got to hold down the fort on some things. Like I got to finish a revamp of our pitch deck tomorrow and just some other things.
okay,
So yeah, if you want to go ahead, man, I trust you with the vision of it. I feel like we're at a very coherent, aligned state. So
cool, great. Well, I'll share what I have,
yeah,
and then I'll just kind of like go forward as quickly as I can. And I find in like socially, this usually creates tension, as in like like wait a second, you've already made all these decisions that we're supposed to talk about, and like
I don't give a fuck,
yeah,
man. I don't give
I need your
like
get
I don't.
your.
I'm not like that.
Well, yeah, but you might not
Yeah,
be, but like somebody on the Don't Die team might feel like Nico might feel like shit, man. Like you sure did make a lot of decisions without even talking to us, or something. And so that's where I think like political acuity comes into play. Yeah,
yeah. I'd say don't worry about that so much because I could just frame it as, hey, this is all just testing still,
yeah,
right? Like and 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 framing it like we're trying to shorten the feedback loops as much as possible. We're using ourselves as users and we want to give you shippable product as fast as possible. That's like, how could they say no? Like, okay, cool. Like go modify the code then.
yeah,
Like this is our hypotheses, right? So don't the social intelligence stuff, like to position, I think I could uh
cool.
yeah, I think I can figure that out. So don't worry about that. Just as dude, if you got energy, you got motivation, you want to fucking blaze a trail, blaze as far as you can. That's what I'd say.
Okay, do it.
Yeah. And then I'll be like your user.
Yeah.
That's like really close to this. So anytime you have new stuff or whatever, I'll just use it. I'll record a loom or something, give you feedback, and then we just go as fast as possible. I think that's the best way.
Okay. Sounds great. Did you want to touch on
Cool.
anything before our SDK playground meeting tomorrow, or the refactor
Um,
epistemologies for better organization readability?
I think my brain might not work anymore for tonight, honestly.
Okay.
Oh no.
That's
Wait.
cool, man.
Oh wait, hang on. Oh shit, it just froze for a sec. Did you hear what I said?
Yes. Uh,
Yeah. I'm pretty beat.
yeah, all good. We can call it night.
uh
We'll sync up in the morning.
yeah. Yeah, let's actually maybe we could put time to do a 30-minute sync ahead of that meeting.
Yeah, whatever, however you want to drive it. I mean, I can jump right into where our code is at, or I think
I think that's the best way at this point. Like we've gotten the devs stoked. My goal for that is you show them where we're at, and they should have reviewed some level of server code at this point, and our data model via protobuf. And yeah, I'd say like if you want to guide that meeting to just get them to a high level of alignment of things, and what maybe even tactically, like what do you want refactored at a high level, like broad brushstrokes, I feel like that'd be a good way to drive that meeting. And if you feel confident of that, I feel like we could just drop in.
okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
cool.
I'll be
And then,
prepared, and yeah, if you want to catch up anytime in the morning, just let me know.
okay, so we got Friday sync, Wednesday sync, tomorrow. Dude, shit's happening, bro. Like, damn, I'm stoked. Holy shit. Like, remember when we were just like talking about health boost AI and shit, and now we're like, all right, here's AI health coach.
Yeah.
We're getting to users soon. Fuck, like they'll be so great, man. They'll be so great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's the most concrete output I've produced so far is this chat app, because it's like much easier to build stuff like this, than it is like the abstraction of the SDK and the philosophy integrated. Yeah,
Yeah,
much faster. Yeah.
totally, totally. And I see like you're definitely really great on the front end for sure. Like it's awesome to see because I haven't really seen that before. Like you've made some other stuff like the belief mirror or whatever, but it seemed to be like another level of your front end development skills. So it's impressive, man.
Yeah, it's the first one I built with Streamlet. It was like pretty fluid, but like the AI did a lot of the heavy lifting, and it even picked a lot of the design iconography and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it's really crazy how good it's getting.
higher agency shit, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, cool. All right, man. I'm gonna take off, wind down,
Cool.
rest. But this was great, and I feel pretty aligned. So go ahead and blaze a trail. That'll be great.
Right on. Sounds great, man.
Cool, man.
Cool.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
Peace out. Give my best to May Lynn. Have a good night.
Thanks. You too.